So I am actually here to do a video about how I weaned my 12-month-old at the time. He is now 15 months old. But I figured I would go ahead and just kind of do a video just going over how I weaned him. I was going to do a weaning and sleep training video, but I'm going to separate them because I think that they're two big things and I believe that they each need their own moment or video. So as far as weaning goes, a little backstory. Nash he was exclusively breastfed from birth until 6 months. At 6 months we still breastfed him but supplemented with food, and then from birth until 12 months old he only had breast milk and water were his liquids of choice and offered to him. But at 12 months we went to his pediatric appointment for his 1 year, and the doctor told us that he could then start on cow's milk, and she kind of just said to do whole milk and see how he did with it. He did totally fine. We started giving him, which we still give him, the Horizons organic whole milk with DHA and omega, and it's a little pricey but it's worth it. And we started that at 12 months, like literally the day after he turned 1, and then he still was breastfeeding at night. So basically the day after his first birthday we introduced a bottle of whole milk, and we did it in the afternoon to make sure that he didn't have any sort of allergy or anything, and then if he did we could take him to the hospital or the doctor or whatever. But how we integrated it into his diet was we started out with 2 ounces, and we gave him 2 ounces in the morning, or you could do afternoon, whatever you're comfortable with. And I tried the sippy cup first, and I tried the sippy cup a few times, but it frustrated him. He was really pissed off about that. So I started just using a bottle because I was like, whatever, we've just got to start integrating this into his diet, see what it does, and then we'll worry about weaning to the sippy cup. So once I gave him a bottle, he was downing it. He loved it. We gave it about 3 days of kind of just going up to 4 ounces each time that we gave it to him. We didn't want to do more than 4 ounces just in case something, he had some sort of allergy or whatever. So I would say within the first 3 days, he probably got a total of like 12 ounces a day, 12 to 15 ounces a day. And at this point, he was still breastfeeding pretty much predominantly. I mean, he was still breastfeeding throughout the day, like maybe twice, and then he was still breastfeeding at night. Now, by the 3rd day, or the 4th day, we were starting to integrate a little bit more. So at nighttime especially, we would give him a 7-ounce bottle. We never gave him over 20 ounces of cow's milk because he was still getting some breast milk and he was still like having yogurt and stuff and cheese. So we typically did, while he was getting breast milk, we did about 15 ounces a day. And what we would do is we would give it to him before his naps, which he had 2 naps a day, and then at nighttime. So between the 2 naps a day, he got about like 4 ounces each time, I want to say. And then the last bottle, he got about 7 ounces of milk. But at night, we were finding that for about the week following, he was still waking up at night. And if you guys have followed like my updates with Nash and how he's sleep trained and blah blah blah, you will know that Nash had a really hard time sleeping through the night. He never has slept through the night up till a year. He always would wake up at night, and in the last couple months before he was a year, he was waking up like a lot. And I would say the 11 to 12 month mark, he was waking up like every 3 to 4 hours. It was horrible. I was getting no sleep. That was just my norm, and I was just like fine with it because I was like, it's what he needs. I then realized that I don't think he was even getting that much breast milk, so he was needing it that often because it wasn't filling him up, if that makes sense. So once we started to integrate the cow's milk, I started to notice that he could sleep for longer periods of time, but he was still waking up for that night feeding of the boob. So I think in some ways, I think it was like he could have gone all night, but he was like, he still was connected. He still was attached to breastfeeding. And I wasn't going to push it. I mean, I did not care if he's still breastfed for months, you know, whatever. But I wanted it to be his timing, you know? So I was ready to wean. I mean, as far as me, I was ready. I loved breastfeeding, but at a year I was just over it. Nash had like a million teeth, and he just wasn't the most like cuddliest nurser throughout the day. But I still loved our nighttime feedings, but I didn't love being woken up like every 3 hours. That wasn't cool. But anyways, so basically what happened was I was like, we need to sleep train him for night. He was doing great for naps. He was putting himself down at nighttime, but whenever he would wake up in the middle of the night, he couldn't put himself back to sleep. So I will be doing a whole video on how we sleep trained him, and all of that. So I'm not going to really touch base on how we did that, but I will be doing a whole video on that. So be on the lookout for that. But basically how we weaned him was that we started off with 2 to 4 ounces. Listen to your pediatrician, talk to your baby's doctor, because they know best, and they know what your baby requires, and every child is different. Some kids might have an allergy, so I am no expert. I am just sharing with you what worked for us and what our doctor recommended for Nash. So yeah, we just started off with that 2 to 4 ounces to kind of get him used to it, and then little by little we just kind of like weaned him from the boob. Actually, the daytime feedings by the 4th day were completely done. He didn't even want the boob during the day. He still wanted those nighttime feedings. And that was a lot of just, we had to sleep train him. That was nothing to do with weaning. It was just sleep training. And once we did sleep train him for those like middle of the night wake up feedings, he totally got rid of those and did not have any care in the world about breastfeeding. So that was cool. And I mean, you know, some women I think get upset, or, you know, I guess I just know that I want another baby, so I know that like my breastfeeding days aren't over. And I feel like Nash and I had like, you know, we have such a big connection that's so much greater than that. So I loved breastfeeding and it was wonderful, but I'm happy to say that he was fully weaned at about 2 months and I'd say 2 weeks. And as far as the sippy cup goes, we basically went cold turkey with that. At 13 months, I decided that he was not going to have the bottle anymore. He had so many teeth, and it was just mostly like him just being a little bit lazy, and him just really just wanting the bottle. And I just really wanted to try to get him to wean to the sippy cup. It took a day tops, and it wasn't even that big of a deal. I literally just would only offer the sippy cup, and he would kind of get a little like wincy, like, I don't want that. That's not what I want. But then eventually it's like, this is how you're gonna get milk. So if you want milk, this is how you're gonna drink it. And now he's a sippy cup champ, and we're working on learning how to use straws, so that's really cool. But anywho, that is our weaning story. I wanted to share it just in case you're going through it right now and you just are frustrated or anything. Just know that I believe it's consistency, and just, I mean, it's difficult at the beginning, and listen to your baby. I mean, some babies aren't ready to wean, you know. I mean, I'm a firm believer that your baby will let you know. And Nash just didn't care anymore. He just wanted milk. And honestly, I think I just wasn't like giving a lot of milk, so he just wasn't really into it anymore, which I understand, because like if I were drinking like a cup of my favorite drink ever and I wasn't getting anything, I would like basically throw that thing down. So anywho, that is our weaning story. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for our sleep training video that will be coming up at some point. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Love your faces. Bye guys.